Hi, I am just going to introduce myself really quickly to start, and then I'm going to show you exactly how we reset our home after things get out of control. I'm Caroline, and I wear a lot of hats. Caring for my family and my home take up the majority of my time, and really my to-do list is never all the way finished. I think most moms can relate to that sentiment. I am going to give you a really personal look inside our home and what things look like when we have a lot of activities and things going on and things get out of hand and really just messy. If you had told me I would be doing this 10 years ago, I would have probably kicked you under the table and gritted my teeth with an absolutely not. I'm just kidding, obviously, but here we are. If your house is way more messy and cluttered, please know that this is now year 15 of me being a mother and learning to care for my home in the middle of chaos. If your house is never this messy, this might not be the right place for you. If you're here to learn, you might benefit from a more strict routine, and there are plenty of people who start their videos with a much cleaner home than I will most of the time. That's just not always real life for me. Okay, so you could either grab a cup of coffee and sit and watch and sort of just get some inspiration from this video. Some of this might work for you and some of it might not. You might need to adapt based on your home, lifestyle, family size, etc. Or you could listen and clean with me as you watch the video. This video is primarily aimed at introducing you to the family clean because this is what's working for us in this season, and I plan to do more videos aimed at inspiring you to get started and clean with me type videos for you to do alongside of me. But for now, I just wanted to give kind of an introduction. This is not all of the cleaning we do. This is just kind of a get it back in order in the morning, start to our day. We call it the family clean. Okay, let's get started. Alright, so the picture on the left is our before picture. You can see that the surfaces are completely covered, and what you can't see is that the sink is also full and the floors have toys scattered about. In the after picture on the right, we still have children. Turns out they don't stay put away for very long, but you can see that most of the clutter is gone. We're actually getting ready to watch church online because we had some other things going on that day and couldn't make it to and from on time, so they brought out their blankets to curl up on the couch, but after we're done watching church, they put those away. This is what I would consider realistically ready for the day for our family. I am going to speed up the video here and there depending on what we're doing so that this doesn't drag on forever and get boring. But in general, our family cleans when things are pretty out of hand last closer to an hour. If things are not this far, this cluttered, and we've been doing a better job keeping up, then you could usually expect closer to 30 minutes before we're moving on with our day. And we do this first thing in the morning. But the kids get up and have breakfast, and usually no later than 9 o'clock right now is when we start our family clean. We start our clean by unloading dishes if there are any to unload, and then refilling the dishwasher or dishwashers depending on how backed up I am on dishes. You'll notice that all of the children that I would consider cleaning age are working on the same task of unloading the dishes. If you have mostly pre-teenage children and above, you might want to have them all working on separate tasks. This is just what works for us. They all have their own chores later in the day, but I find that for the family time together, it's most effective when they all work on a task together for the most part. So the 6-year-old unloads the silverware. The 9-year-old does items that go in the lower cabinets and drawers, and then the older two put away the items that go in the higher cabinets. If the olders finish faster, then they'll move on to the next task, but we just kind of assign in the same zone age-appropriate tasks. Sometimes the 2-year-old wants to help too, and we give him the children's plastic cups to put in a drawer, which makes him very happy and keeps him entertained. While everyone else is working on unloading the dishes, which doesn't usually take very long, I start washing the dishes in the sink to refill. So if there are 2 full dishwashers, then they will unload one at a time so that I can start refilling much earlier. I'll go ahead and get things soaking if they need to soak, and just ready to go into a dishwasher so that I can start loading. A lot of times, if we've been keeping up with dishes, we will have one empty dishwasher already that I can start loading while they unload the full dishwasher. I would love to be one of those people who never goes to bed with a dirty dish, but by the time evening rolls around, I am typically exhausted and I choose to save it for the next day and spend time with everyone. One day I hope to consistently load dishes at night to run. I have 2 dishwashers now, but that has not always been the case. It's only been this way for about a year. When I only had 1 dishwasher, I would either load once in the morning and then hand wash all the rest of the dishes, or I would do 2 loads per day at 2 separate times. And I would have somebody help me with that as part of their chore. So after the dishes are unloaded, the kids start to put away everything on the kitchen counters. Our youngest, let's call him Farm Baby, is usually in the high chair at this point with a snack, and that prevents him from unloading the dirty dishes that I am reloading. Another thing that really makes family clean work for us is music. You can't hear it in this video because I cut the audio and added a lighter music so that you can hear me talking, but we have several playlists made specifically for tidying up. Children don't naturally want to be told to clean. I mean, neither do I, really, and I'm an adult. So if you're just getting started with delegating tasks in your home, or you haven't been consistent with it, try the music out. It is my all-time favorite cleaning hack. It's a lot harder to be in a bad mood, children and adults included, when there is an upbeat playlist going on. After implementing a new task for a few days or weeks, depending on the child, I find that they start to enjoy the way their home and their spaces feel when it's clean. And as the children get older, they sort of put 2 and 2 together and they want to enjoy their spaces. And so they realize that even if they don't particularly want to do the cleaning, that they need to help clean their spaces to enjoy them. So share the load is my new motto. While I have many tasks on top of cleaning that we all do together, we're able to enjoy time with our family when we all share the load. The kids start to make the connection very quickly. We all helped with after dinner cleanup, for example, and so now Mom can sit and watch a show with us or read to us or attend a certain event that she wasn't planning to because she was going to stay home and clean or meal prep or whatever the task might be. This is definitely a work in progress sort of situation for me and everyone else, but the more that we practice, the more consistent we've become. I often need to remind myself to step away even when we didn't have time to do the cleaning, because the mess is still going to be there, but the children keep growing and growing quickly, might I add. So I really want to focus on being more present with the kids. And if we share the load, then that helps me to be more mentally available to do that. All right, so after the countertops are cleared, one of us wipes them down while everyone else moves on to clearing the table and picking up the floors. Some days I might choose to start somebody on one of those tasks sooner rather than later. It just kind of depends, like if they're bumping elbows with one another, feeling really bored with what they're doing, and I can tell that they need a change of scenery or pace, I will go ahead and say, hey, why don't you start on the floors? I see, a red block over there by my room. How fast can you get it? Or, it just depends on the age, how I might do that. Sometimes I have folded clothing on the table. I've tried a few different methods for not folding clothes on the table, and I think I have it to a minimum now, but this day in particular, I had laundry all over the table. And other times it's just leftover items that we used at dinner the night before that didn't get cleaned up, or during school the day before, or maybe even something the kids were working on that morning. Whatever is there on the dinner table gets put back in its place. And if the table needs to be wiped, we'll do that at this time as well. We use our kitchen table for everything. I've previously had a homeschool room, and then we still gravitated to the kitchen table. So we do, all of our eating here, and most of our homeschooling either there or at the little island there. So the table is used all day, every day. So it just helps everybody, especially Mom, to feel better when the table is clear. when we get started, I just keep the little jars of pencils and things that we use really often there in the middle of the table. You'll notice that we are moving from, the kitchen into the living room as the video progresses, and the order is intentional to maximize my time, not so much what everybody else is doing. But if the counters and the table are wiped off while I'm loading the dishes, then all the crumbs go onto the floor. And then the kids pick up the floors, and on the days when there is less mess, the baby is still in the high chair, which makes it the perfect time for me to sweep so that he doesn't, eat any of those crumbs that came off of the counter. So when I'm done with dishes, I go straight from dishes pretty much to sweeping. In this video, we had more to put away than we do on a normal morning, and so the baby was out of the high chair before I swept because, he only enjoys being in there for so long. So when family clean runs a little long and is more involved, the older children will often play with a younger child instead of do a chore. Jazzy, our 6-year-old, and Papaya, no, those are not their real names, most often gravitate to the baby or babies and try to get assigned that task because it's their favorite thing to do. If they can get out of cleaning and play with the baby, they are absolutely smitten. So this is a win-win because they are building like a lifelong friendship, and I get more time to have my hands free and get the cleaning tasks done more thoroughly. 6-year-olds are wonderful helpers, and I am absolutely thrilled to have them help. But sometimes mom cleaning it up is just a little more thorough, if you know what I mean. Once the floors are picked up, we do a quick reset of the living room, which really just involves clearing any of the random items that the couch has accumulated, fixing the cushions, putting away the ottomans, and tidying the little side table so that we can put our books or our coffee or whatever we're using while we're sitting in there. You will notice that I have infinite laundry baskets. We started a new laundry system and it's working incredibly well, but on this particular weekend I didn't have time to handle the laundry or the entryway table. We ran out of time. We were watching a church service right thereafter, so during that service I spent my time tending to the babies and then sorting laundry right there behind the couch, and then once the laundry is sorted, the baskets are cleared. That pretty much sums up the flow for the family clean. On weekends, Dad is home, but during the week it's just me and the kids. Either way, the routine stays pretty much the same. And this is really handy because if someone's coming over last minute or things get chaotic and I feel like we just need a reset, they already know what to do. I can say to my oldest, for the purpose of these videos, I will call her Farm Girl. I can say, Farm Girl, let's get a playlist going, and they all know it's time to tidy up, and there isn't really a lot of arguing or, doling out tasks or trying to figure out how to organize it. We just get started. Most weekdays, we will end the cleaning time by getting laundry going too, but really once you establish the fact that there will be a routine and the kids come to expect it, you can amend it in whatever way works best for your family. Some days while I have everyone together, we go ahead and do some reading together or have a little family meeting. Other days I need a minute to figure things out, and so I send them to work on their morning routines or chores or some independent schoolwork depending on the child. The younger ones, obviously, they're not doing a whole lot independently. I would say, Farm Baby and Jolly, who are under 1 and 2, they're just playing. But, and sometimes that includes the 6-year-old too, but for sure, 8 to 9 range and up, they can be doing some stuff independently, and they have their own lists and their own kind of flow to their day. And other days, they may just enjoy playing a board game together before we really get going. It just kind of depends on what we have going on that day and how everyone's feeling. It's all very flexible. So at this point, I'm pretty much just sweeping and mopping, and they're finishing up a couple of small things, but for the most part, everyone's just kind of getting ready for the church service. So I went ahead and sped up the video so that you can see all the way to the end if you want to. Obviously, there are several things I would have liked to get done still. I would have loved to do the entryway and reorganize some shelves and things like that. But I do have a system of like sort of just writing down those kinds of things that I want to get to, and we have what we call a sparkle in our family, and everybody gets a sparkle every day. We don't always get to our sparkles every day, so sometimes somebody might have a sparkle for a few days in a row, and they just kind of do what they can to tackle that area. This is another one of those age-appropriate things. So for like the 6-year-old, the sparkle might be to wipe the refrigerator or something like that, whereas one of the older kids might get something like reorganize a drawer or a space in their room, or whatever the task might be. My sparkles tend to be the slightly larger areas, so sometimes I might assign a sparkle to like help mom as a sparkle with this larger area, like toys, for example. That the last time we had to reorganize toys, it was a whole family sparkle that day. Like, we pulled it all out together. But I tend to try to make that like sort of bite-sized chunks so it's not overwhelming, but I can know that like, okay, I put it on the list and it will get done at some point. All right, and that's all. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to let me know.